What are we talking about today?
The scale.
The scale.
You're supposed to say it again like you just did. That was just like, let's do this again.
Okay.
Welcome back to the Mom Life Podcast. I'm back in the middle, whatever.
Yeah.
And we're here to continue the series on weight loss, which at this point, I don't know when it will end.
Well, there's a lot of reasons why it's hard, so we're just going to keep chipping away at them.
Hopefully each week can provide you a different thought or point of view or a new tip or something to try, because we definitely know how frustrating weight loss can be and can continue to be no matter what part of the journey you're on, whether you started and stopped, you're maintaining, whatever the case may be. There's always going to be these things that pop up and can really get in the way of moving forward. And one of them, the biggest one that we can think of that a lot of people struggle with, is the scale.
Yeah. What we think is the most important tool to actually lose weight is probably the most detrimental tool to losing weight. Does that make sense to anybody?
I like the word detrimental because I've been there before, and I'm sure you have too.
Yes.
It can be the reason that you don't lose weight.
It can be. And I also like the word that you used as a tool, because tools are great. There's tools that can help us. We want to have different tools in our tool belt to help us along with any journey or any goal or any project that we're working on. But just like a hammer can break glass, it can also drive a nail home, right? So it can serve two different things, and that's how I feel about the scale. It's a tool that can help you measure some progress, but it's also a tool that can completely wreck your mindset and make you forget about any good thing happening along your journey because of the 3 numbers that pop up there and can literally make or break a day or even a longer period of time.
Yeah, can certainly break way more than a day. I promise you that. Pretty sure we've seen that happen to numerous people. And I think the best thing maybe is to go through is what we do and then why we do it that way. And Josh and I were just talking about this for a current member that's getting on the scale on a daily basis and talking about, okay, well, how do we get them away from being on the scale on a daily basis? Because what we would really love to see is somebody to give it at least 6 to 8 weeks of no scale time. When somebody's starting off, it's like to put that away for 6 to 8 weeks, and it comes with what I think is a really good purpose. Is most people who've tried and started fitness programs, exercise, don't actually know what feeling better really means. And they say they feel better when the scale is moving in the right direction. They don't say they feel better when the scale is stuck, but they're still doing the right stuff. And that's because the scale is making the determination of how they're feeling, controlling their emotion, opposed to if we can put that thing away, you can show up and not step on the scale. Because really the reason most people step on the scale is because they're actually doing good things. And they're like so excited because, man, I do feel better. I'm doing all these things. I'm eating better foods. I'm moving more. Exactly what's supposed to happen to lose weight, and then they get on and it's not what they wanted, and womp, womp, womp.
So since we just talked about this, I'm going to quiz you because I really liked your answer. During those first 6 to 8 weeks, how do we measure progress, and what does progress look like, and why do we think that that's important?
Because that's where you actually get to feel the emotion of waking up and saying, I actually feel better, without knowing, did my body change at all weight-wise? But because I ate healthier food, because I'm moving more, it releases the feelings of actually feeling good, and we get to ride with it, not just for a week, but like 2 months. And that way you can really determine, like, yes, exercise and eating healthier, I feel different and I feel better, and I can actually acknowledge that and have some momentum going to. Then the hope is now we have a good enough test run to say, regardless of what the scale was, I like the way this feels. And now I can move forward and say, even if I don't lose any weight, I still want to feel this way. And then now the weight can be more of a secondary project opposed to the main project, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and would you guys agree that with the way we do it in our program, where we're adding one small habit at a time and to perfection, that it takes a little bit of time to build up enough of those, habits to form change?
Yeah, so when we're sitting down with somebody, and I think that's what really sets us apart, like we always, you might hear us talking about the Mom Life Transformation Program and being like, what even is that? But one of the main things that we do when we're starting that program is we will collect that starting weight. It's a piece of data, and that's literally all that it is for the first several weeks or several months of the program. And I always describe it to, if I'm sitting across the table from another mom that's struggling and weight loss is a goal, but I always describe to her the program as like building a house. First, being here is like buying the land, and we're going to clear it, and then we're going to start building that foundation, right? And that's what you're talking about. We're going to start working on these small habits that could actually lead to weight loss, but the weight loss isn't the focus. It's the small habits that we're building over time and the consistency that then can bring us to that piece of the journey. But if you're trying to just skip ahead to decorating the house, that's the weight loss part of it. But we want to start with the foundation. And while we want to collect the data to start, a scale is not going to measure, like Jeff said, it's not going to measure you having more energy. It's not going to measure you starting to move more. It's not going to measure that you just feel better overall, that you're sleeping better, that you've made nutritional changes that help you feel good. The scale will tell you absolutely zero of that information. And that morning you wake up and you've been doing those things for, any amount of time. If you get curious and you step on the scale and it hasn't changed, that doesn't take away from all those wins. But mentally, sometimes for people that really will. That could be the part where you say, this isn't working, I'm going to quit. Yeah. And that's what our goal in our program is, to try to get you to get into the longer term continuation of building those foundational habits and building on them. And then, like Jeff said, the side effect of all those good things can be weight loss.
Yeah, it can be, but it's no guarantee. Weight loss is such a hard thing to guarantee for anybody. There's so many variables, stage of life, any kind of medications that you might be on, hormones like
stress.
Don't say that word out loud, Josh.
Did you just say hormones?
I said with all due respect.
All due respect. But yeah, the point is that when we remove the scale from being the only tool, we get to work on all these other great things, and people actually have a chance to find out what makes them feel good. And that is an amazing way to watch somebody transform, is to hear them come in and every week, and we're talking about wins. Because I've had some people ask me, they're like, so do we weigh every week? And I think my answer surprises them when I'm like, no, actually, we're going to just put that on pause for a minute. Most people find relief in it, I've found. But there are the cases where someone has been, like this client, I think I know who you're talking about, like stepping on the scale multiple times a day. I don't know if it's, out of curiosity. That wasn't my experience with the scale, but out of curiosity, people do step on it. But that can just be a habit that, like anything else, we can work on changing how we, reframing what that means to something different, which might just mean giving it a break. And then even to the point where we've asked people to hide it, give it to their husband, or give it to the neighbor. I've had someone bring it to their neighbor's house. Like, you're not going to wake up in the middle of the night, or, first thing in the morning and be like, hey, give me that scale back. But, we laugh about it, but it's true. Like, it's very common for people to get very wrapped up in that number, and then also just put all of your self-worth into that. And I can just tell you from experience, your worth is not measured on that scale, ever. Never, ever, ever is it measured on a scale.
No, and that's what, the goal is to find what am I worth? What do I actually enjoy? What do I love doing? What makes me happy? Finding that, and like you said, it's not going to be the scale. Like, it'll give you some small wins here, but the losses you're going to take along the way are just not worth it until you become prepared for it. And that's a whole nother conversation, is when we are ready to use this scale as a tool, there's a whole conversation about what that first time back on there, what it's going to look like. Like, I recommend that people actually write out the way that they feel before they get on it. Write out the way you feel before you get on it, so that way, in case it is bad, because it doesn't always go the way we think, you have that reflection like, wait a second, no, I just felt this way, so this scale can't steal that from me just because I didn't lose, 5 pounds or whatever whatever expectation they maybe had. So just unfortunately, society and everything is just built in like, well, I should, everybody thinks that weight loss or weight has to be part of a transformation, and it's not. It's a byproduct of transforming. And the biggest problem really is that we don't prioritize ourselves first. And when we learn to do that and we put ourselves first with our nutrition, our exercise, our stress relief, well, the weight's probably going to start to take care of itself. And then it just becomes a byproduct of being a healthy person. Unfortunately, weight is a byproduct of being an unhealthy person.
Yeah, I mean, it's a symptom either way. Yeah. Either weight loss or weight gain is a symptom of whatever your daily habits are. And I know that can sound like, I already know that, but it's like, but if you consistently are doing good things or I shouldn't say good things, if you're consistently doing the things that you feel good about and that are making you feel great, more energetic, sleeping better, you're making choices that are in alignment with who you want to become, and then you do, the scale can come into play at a certain point in that time, but it cannot take away all those good feelings that you've built up. It just cannot. But we give it power. We give it way more power than it deserves. And like Jeff said, it is in our society. Our weight is we associate it with a lot of things about ourselves. And for me, one thing I know that it has done for me in the past is I've given it way too much power over who I think I am, when really that's just the least interesting thing about me.
Yeah, I don't think anybody just ever walked up in, Tina, what do you weigh?
No, I think that's
what do you weigh today?
I feel like that is such so while weight loss is such a big conversation and we talk about it all the time, and whether it's in the gym because we have members who want to lose weight, or even if you're out on the street, or even if you're out with your friends and someone's like, oh, I'm on this big diet, I'm going to lose all this weight. But we never ever, you're right, you never be like, so how much do you weigh right now? If you see somebody who you can tell has maybe been losing weight, sometimes you might say to them like, hey, you look really good. What have you been doing? And they, may or may not, whatever they share with you is what it is. But at the same time, I don't think it's not a normal question.
Well, and they may share with you, oh, I've lost 20 pounds, but they won't tell you a start and where they they won't tell you where the numbers are. And we won't ask.
And nobody cares.
Right.
That's what I mean. Like, so it's like really like uninteresting information. I think it's more interesting when you can watch somebody and see them and see how they interact and how they move and how they feel and just their energy that they're bringing to you. You can just be like, I am around somebody that feels really good. I am around somebody who has a lot of energy. Mm-hmm. What are you doing? But I know that's a very hard place to get to if you're not in the right spot to receive that energy.
Sure.
You may not ever experience that feeling. And I think that's one great thing about being part of the Pulse community is that there's always a lot of good energy. And I can tell you, I've never had a member walk in and I've been like, so what do you weigh today? Or even and removing the scale from the conversation, it just opens up the pathway and the opportunity to talk about what they're feeling good about and maybe what some future goals they have are, because they are feeling so good.
Shit that actually matters?
Yes, the shit that actually matters. It's never been like, hey, when you reach your goal weight, what are you going to do? It's like, hey, this summer, do you want to join our 5K group that we're doing for the Kirkenfest? Yeah, I want to join that. And that feels really good. And then they want to build up and they want to work on the process. But it's never, hey, I want to lose 5 pounds by June 1st. What should I do really, really quick and really, really fast? Because the truth is, like Jeff said, it's not guaranteed. And even that 5 pounds might not make as much of a difference as you think it is in what you really want to do and how you really want to feel. But that's not to say that people don't want to lose weight, because I absolutely recognize that people do. So it's not like throw your scale away and forget about it and don't lose weight. This is just more about getting the foundation laid first.
Yeah, and I mean, losing weight is important for a lot of things, because chances are if you lose weight, the things that we try, you say you want to do, you're going to do them better. They're going to be easier. They're going to be more enjoyable, because it wasn't as hard as what it was before. Mm-hmm. So, we're not discrediting that we need, and you're just healthier. Getting this weight off your body, your knees are going to feel better, your ankles are going to feel better, your hips. Like, there's so
blood
many
pressure,
benefits of,
health indicators.
Obviously losing the weight, but it just can't be the number one thing.
Yeah.
And if it is your main focus, you're going to continue to do the grind that you've been on. The cycle will never end. So, to kind of, I guess, wrap it up is, I would suggest, if this is something you've been working on, try to put the scale away, give it 6 to 8 weeks, but maybe do a little journaling along the way each week. Instead of doing a weigh-in, do a little check-in with yourself. How am I feeling this week? And see what the wins are, and see how maybe they look different than the win of, well, I lost a pound this week. Like, yeah, that's cool, but man, saying that you got up and did something extra that you haven't been doing, you played with your kids more or whatever, is worth way more than losing a pound. And chances are that pound might just start to come off as well. You might just happen to get both. So that's kind of my parting shot on it. You guys got anything to add to?
No, you nailed it.
No, I think it's great, and just look for other ways. Like you said, look for other ways to find wins. Like, so if you're somebody out there who is constantly finding that you're stepping on the scale either one time a day, every day, or however often, if you're doing it more often than you prefer, and it's creating that feeling of like your worth, that's when I really challenge you to do exactly what Jeff said, is like get that scale out of the picture for a time and focus in on the things that are making you feel good, and then decide what that number actually means about you.
Yeah. So let us know if you need any help.
Yep.